Jesse Waters had a really good segment. I haven't seen a segment this good from Jesse Waters in a very, very long time. But Jesse Waters had a phenomenal segment the other day where he was basically breaking down that, Trump and Elon Musk is exacting exactly what they said that they were going to do when they got into office with this whole situation. And I think that it makes sense. And so let's go ahead and get into it. Shout out to Jesse Waters. Shout out to Fox News. I want to review this with you guys because it properly summarizes exactly what's been happening over the past 2 weeks.
And for the deep state, got it all. Over 40,000 federal bureaucrats have already taken buyouts, and we're only in week 3.
We expect that number to increase, and that alone, just the 40,000, again, we expect it to increase. It's going to save the American people tens of millions of dollars, and we encourage federal workers in this city to accept the very generous offer. If they don't want to show up to the office, if they want to rip the American people off, then they're welcome to take this buyout, and we'll find highly competent individuals who want to fill these roles.
Elon and his nerd army have been combing through agencies, blasting away bloat. 20-year-old dozers are clashing with lazy old-timers who don't know how to use a computer and are calling them idiots. And breaking news, Secretary of State Marco Rubio has just fired 90% of the administrators at USAID. They took a 10,000-man agency and streamlined it to 300 employees. The media is calling it the Trumpocalypse. CNN castoff Oliver Darcy says the American experiment is convulsing before our eyes. And he's flabbergasted that the media hasn't gone into round-the-clock special coverage. Quote, media executives need not fret about being the boy who cried wolf. The wolf is now in the barn and mauling the livestock. The Democrats in the media have never seen a president execute a mandate with speed and precision. The country voted for change, and we're watching representative government in the 21st century. The feds, they call that war.
Nobody wants to work in this type of condition where we're going to be in a psychological warfare for how long?
It's amazing, right? That, first of all, I'm just so impressed and so excited that we actually have a real president that is doing exactly what he said that he was going to do. That's number one. We have a real president that is doing exactly what he said that he was going to do. All right. The second part about this, which again is amazing, is that people are actually complaining that they are going through, because let's be clear, this is just the beginning. You got to realize that this is going to be going on for at least about 2 years. Okay. And so they're starting small, but they're starting with the lowest hanging fruit. And it's so obvious what is happening at this agency. And when people are revealing and they actually dropping all of the receipts every single day of all of the things that they are funding and where all of this money is going. And I can't understand why Americans, people that are born, raised, and as American citizens can vote, actually pay taxes. How can you be upset that they are going through every single agency, line by line? They made an example of one of the lowest hanging fruit, the USAID, and they said, listen, you got 10,000 people that are working at this agency, and we need to streamline this thing, and now only 300 to 400 people is working at it. And we also need to remove the amount of money that we're giving over into these diversity, equity, and inclusion programs that's not even inside of the United States of America. And we need to go through our federal budget and find out where all of this money and where all of this waste is going. You know that it's the loudest ones in the room that's complaining, the ones that's the hit dogs and they hollering. I think it's going to get very, very ugly. I don't think that it's that far-fetched to think that at some point there's going to be some form of a crash out that comes very, very soon. And when I say a crash out, I mean that when you see what they did with USAID and they actually released all the receipts, and then they also made it available for everybody to be able to quit before they even came in there. And since they decided not to quit, they just go ahead and laid everybody off, because we're not going to continue to give diversity, equity, and inclusion and transgender research topics over there to Gaza and Guatemala. I think that this is the warning. I think that the first thing that they were supposed to do was they went into this agency, they went in and they went line by line to figure out what was going on. They gutted the agency itself. And then after that, and I think that it's a bigger play here. After that, they then offered buyouts to every single government agency. Up to date, more than 40,000 people. I think that they extended it through Monday or Tuesday now because the judge wanted to extend it. Up to date, over 40,000 people have already took the buyout. And guess what? The electricity's still on. All of the buses are still running. For whatever reason, I don't feel affected. With all of the people that's been deported, with all of these government agencies, because again, I think that the main way that you pay for all of these deportations, the main way that you then start to, at some point, maybe in 2027, 28, start to actually see a budget surplus with the federal government is that you have to cut every single thing that is not serving taxpayers. When we say we wanted smaller government, this is what we mean. We don't need taxpayer money going over to God knows what, and we don't even have any visibility into it. And I don't think that is that far-fetched to think that there's going to be a major, and when I say major, I believe a major crash out. Because the one thing that they don't want is they don't want him starting to get over into military spending. They don't want to see what's really going on with these Social Security contracts and these government contractors. They don't want you to see what's really happening over in your sector and its construction in these buildings. They don't want you to see who's really the vendors for this infrastructure bill and its spending when it comes to the CHIPS Act. They don't want you going through line by line and finding out who the people that's really stealing all of the money, and they've been stealing it for a lifetime. Stealing it for a lifetime. I'm telling you that they don't want this crash out. The real terrorists, you're going to see who they really are. The real terrorist is not somebody in a mask that's hijacking a plane that wants to fly it over into the World Trade Center. That ain't it. The real terrorist is your next door neighbor. They live right next to you. They voted Democrat. They believe that we're supposed to continue to send your tax dollars overseas. They paid ops and they out here protesting in front of the Treasury. The real terrorists, the real treasonous people, you know them. They live with you. They hang out with you. You might even go to church with them, and they may even be a bottom. The people that ain't tripping, the people that's just like, man, yeah, I want to see where the money is going. You know that they good. They ain't tripping. They've been taking care of business, doing things the right way for a long time. If you see somebody pop up on TikTok and they sitting there whining and complaining, no, be with a weary eye.
Where we're going to be in a psychological warfare for how long?
Other federal workers, not revealing their names because of concern over retribution, described to NBC News fear and panic, an Orwellian nightmare.
Federal workers are worried about payback and psychological warfare. How do you think the whole country's felt for the last 20 years? Having to tiptoe around DEI, hauled into HR for jokes, canceled for an opinion, watching Black Lives Matter light us on fire. A guy wearing a dress raped a girl in the girl's bathroom, and the girl's dad got arrested for raising his voice. A DEI bureaucrat at the Department of Justice making six figures who's going to get a buyout with an 8-month severance deal. They're not a victim. CNN's putting spot shadows on feds like their lives are in danger.
What is the general feeling across government amongst your fellow federal workers right now?
Grief. They're angry, many that are confused, but all kind of grieving in their own way.
How does it feel to be targeted for the work that you're so passionate about? It's okay, you could take your time.
Are y'all really crying? Yeah, man, these people need to be fired ASAP.
It actually makes me prouder of the people that I've worked with and the things that we've done.
CNN
So
spot
stupid.
chatting a woman who's worked from home, and now she's crying because she doesn't want to go back to the office. This is insane. CNN just laid off hundreds of employees to cut costs because their books aren't balanced because no one's watching them. No one's interviewing fired CNN staff, not even Don Lemon.
Facts.
Getting fired isn't a war crime. I've been fired 4 times. And thank God, because it turned out all right. Since when has CNN cared about people losing their jobs? They didn't weep when Biden waxed the Keystone Pipeline workers.
Facts.
CNN.
That is, listen, Jesse Waters, he's good, but I have never seen him cook like this. Not lately. I haven't seen Jesse Waters cook in a long time, and he is 100. Whoever wrote this speech, whoever the producers are, they was cooking. Nobody cared about when the Keystone Pipeline people got laid off. Nobody cares when the steel workers. I don't see any interviewers over in Gary, Indiana, trying to figure out how that place turned into a destruction zone. I don't see anybody going over into the east side of Detroit trying to understand where their jobs went. I don't see anybody going to kick it with former CNN staffers or MSNBC people who were laid off because their companies is in shambles and nobody wants to actually view their content anymore, asking them, what happened with your diversity, equity, and inclusion program? I don't see anybody going over into these laid off bankers or any of these tech workers or any of these people that's over here suffering and sobbing, that's a part of the private sector. Nobody cares about you. Nobody cares. You know why they doing this? Is because they thought that they were safe, and they thought that as long as they got this job. I know people that have went into government, right? Went into a federal workforce for the government, and they did it and they said, I'm gonna take less money, but I know that I'll have job security, being able to practically do nothing for the rest of my life. It is a free check for a lot of people. You thought that you were safe, and we were subsidizing it by raising taxes, and then they wanted to tell us, hey man, the rich need to pay their fair share. So why? So I can continue to fund this BS? Nah.
CNN's been trying to get everybody fired at Fox for years. If CNN doesn't like what you say, they call your boss. They call your advertiser.
Hey, we got over 5,200 people watching this on YouTube alone. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm. If you have not already, make sure you tap into the Bag Chasers, the Patreon. We got some really good information in there for y'all to continue to level up. And then make sure you subscribe and then turn on your notifications. Let's continue to rock.
They try to bankrupt you and boycott you. Random Americans who crack jokes on Facebook. CNN was putting them on blast, trying to get him canceled.
Yep.
CNN cheered on Biden for firing Army officers who didn't get vaxxed.
They sure did.
Guys who were willing to die for this country. CNN said, good, get them out of here. CNN's boss can lay off people. Why can't Trump? Bill Clinton fired almost 400,000 federal workers. That wasn't a constitutional crisis. The government had to slim down. Bill and Newt.
Nobody tripped off of Bill Clinton. You know what they called him? Because he played the saxophone. Bill Clinton on the saxophone. And because Obama sang Al Green, nobody tripped. Trump came in with his pen swinging within the next 2 weeks, and everybody is in shambles. Oh my God, the whole United States of America is on fire. I still see everything just running regular and ain't even tripped. Ain't even tripped even a little bit.
Cut the fat, balance the budget. And Democrats are acting like we're witnessing a genocide.
Let me remind you who set the house on fire. It was y'all. It feels as if
talk
y'all
about
have
Jasmine
just
Crockett
decided that
today.
y'all are going to castrate your constitutional duty and hand it over to someone who is unelected.
Fire Elon Musk. Elon Musk took control of our country's financial nuclear codes.
House Republicans have allowed billionaire Elon Musk and his gang of thieves to enter the U.S. Treasury Department, fire the people entrusted with secret private information about Americans, and give them that access.
Elon Musk is destroying our federal government. He feels he bought himself a president.
Now we've got Donald Trump and his co-president Elon Musk, and they're just running a wrecking ball through it.
Democrats want to audit you for a $600 Venmo payment. But when Elon audits the $1 trillion government, they're ready to storm the castle. Why are Democrats shocked?
Hey, remember when Biden said that anybody that was receiving over $600 on Venmo, Cash App, and PayPal, that you guys were going to have to be required to get your banking information submitted to the IRS, and that they were hiring over 80,000 IRS agents to make sure that you guys were audited? I seen a whole lot of black women that said that they was only taking cash from now on, and that they were no longer going to take a Cash App, PayPal, or Venmo for services. It was a whole lot of hairdressers, boutique owners. Everything was cash from now on. Everything went cash. Y'all remember that?
We're putting the government on a diet. Trump and Musk campaigned on it and won on it.
We're going to be very open and transparent and be very clear about this is what we're doing. Here are the issues. This is the math for what's being spent and what, and we're going to make it. We're going to make the spending lower. And if somebody's got a better idea for how to make the spending lower, tell us. But if we don't, we're going to bankrupt the country.
I will create a government efficiency commission tasked with conducting a complete financial and performance audit of the entire federal government and making recommendations for drastic reforms. As the first order of business, this commission will develop an action plan to totally eliminate fraud and improper payments within 6 months. This will save trillions of dollars, trillions.
Democrats aren't surprised this is Trump's agenda. They're surprised he's able to execute it. Because after years of incompetence, no one thought anyone was capable of doing anything in Washington. Elon says there's a way to know when you're over the target.
One of the things I remember from the PayPal days was that, who complains the loudest is the fraudsters. Okay, so when somebody was trying to commit fraud to PayPal, where we would see the most amount of righteous indignation, like it would be like immediate over-the-top righteous indignation, was from the fraudsters, not from honest people. Because honest people are like, I think there's something wrong with my account. I wonder what's wrong. Let me inquire. But the fraudsters will come at you immediately. It's like a tell that someone's actually doing fraud, because the level of sort of faux outrage is way over the top.
Elon does.
That's what you see happening within the Democratic Party right now. They are throwing everything yet but the kitchen sink at this thing. They protesting at the Treasury. They sitting there saying it's diversity, equity, and inclusion. They say that Elon Musk is taking over the federal government. They say that he has access to the nuclear codes. Would you want your private information to be found out and all of this other type of stuff? We don't even trip when AT&T get hacked no more. We don't trip about nothing. We don't trip about your information going out. We sign up on Red Note. We sign up on TikTok. We sign away our consent agreements. But all of a sudden, everybody is concerned about their sensitive information that's going out. You told all of your business on TikTok last night. We know who your baby daddy is. We know who his baby mama is with an S are. We know where you going today. We know where your location is. We know how much money that you got in your bank account. We know who gonna hit on you tomorrow. We know every single thing about you because you told all of your information and you show it to us every day on social media. You tell us where you live. You tell us where you're going to be at. You don't have no kind of privacy whatsoever. You want to be famous so bad. We know all about you. But all of a sudden, everybody is all concerned because, it's the loudest ones in the room that's the most guilty. Listen, I know Nancy Pelosi, Elizabeth Warren, all of these people. I know that the Kamala Harrises and all of them. Do you know why Biden gave all of his people pardons all the way back to 2014? We've never seen pre-pardons before in our entire life. Before, you don't think that he knew what was coming? You don't think that the people knew what was coming? Listen, you know who you don't see no protesting from? You don't see Obama. He over there chilling with Jennifer Aniston. Michelle, nowhere to be found, chilling. Kamala Harris, ain't said a word. Biden, he over there on a reservation somewhere, him and Hunter. We don't hear a peep. Bill Clinton, nothing, nada. George Bush II, not a word. Everybody is whisper quiet. All of these Democrats that's protesting at the Treasury and stuff, all of these people that's whining and complaining, everybody, I'm telling you, bro, listen. What we are going to see probably over the next 2 years is going to be unprecedented. It is going to be the greatest revelation and revealing of transparency and information of all time. When you see people scrambling, when you see people making adjustments, when you see people getting uncomfortable and antsy, Elon Musk has told you what to look for.